Over $40 million that has been earned by the country through tourism has boosted the country's economy. Good evening, this is Business Digest. I am your host, Diana Iriza. We have more stories on tourism coming up your way and many more. But first, let's have a look into the headlines. The tourism department in the country grows as Chironji district receives about 500 tourists on a monthly basis. Finance Summit was held here in Kigali last week as over 350 delegates representing 28 various countries attended. And on our third story today, we'll be looking into how social media platforms can be used to expand businesses and the tech ecosystem. Chironji district has become more and more popular in the country due to the increase in the number of tourist attractions and the number of tourists that visit the area on a daily basis. Rwanda is currently one of the top most visited areas in East Africa in the year 2018, and it has also been ranked as a top travel destination by both CNN Travel and The Telegraph, and was also recently featured by the New York Times on its annual 52 places to go to in 2018 list. With tourist attractions such as Lake Kivu that covers a total surface area of 2,700 kilometers and 1,460 meters above sea level, has attracted a vast number of tourists both locally and internationally, not forgetting the islands and hills that are within and around the lake. Located in Chironji district, about 110 kilometers from Kigali city, the road to Chironji is paved and in good condition, hence supporting transportation for both goods and people. Despite the fact that the 2017 statistic numbers on tourism revenues aren't yet synthesized, the Rwanda Development Board expects a 10% increase from 2016. Statistics show that Rwanda has doubled tourism revenues from $2,000 million in 2010 to $404 million in 2016. Approximately 500 tourists, both local and international, get to visit this area, and they also get to see different tourist sites such as the Napoleon Island, the Island of Peace, and also get an experience where they get to see different animals such as cows and monkeys and also birds.
My name is Fernando, and I came from Spain. And today it's been a nice day, but I was expecting to see more animals in the island, but it's been nice. It's going to be nice, yeah. So I choose to come here and see Africa for the first time. Yes, I wish there could be more animals on the island, but it's not depend. It's nature. Yeah, it's like that. So I was expecting more, but I'm having fun.
Along with modern water sport facilities, traditional boats can be used for exciting nature discovery tours and authentic experiences within local Rwandan daily lives. Visitors can take boat rides from many of the local hotels, visiting Napoleon's Island, and also explore other islands such as the Bird Island and the Island of Peace. So here we are at the Island of Peace, and so many activities get to happen here. Before, the island was pretty still, nothing much was happening, but over the years there's been so many significant changes. Many tourists get to identify this place and use this area for recreational activities.
This business started from 2000. Normally 1999, and we also make cooperative to work together as a cooperative. It's like a Rwandan wish, and we made a cooperative together with 18 people. Then now we are working in a cooperative. When we start this business, we was 18 people. Everybody invest 500,000 francs, and also to have boats. Every one of the people who is in a cooperative must have a boat, own boat. The boat cost about 800,000, including the engines. When you buy it, a new one cost 2.5 million. So total it's 3.3 million. We have 12 boats. No much problems, but as you see the wind time, when it's a wind time, it's a get problem with our boats. But as cooperative, we are planning to have their new boats, which will be much better for us.
Finance Summit, an event on fintech and digital banking. This event was carried out here in Kigali last week, and it created an opportunity for 1,000 fintech professionals to bring their minds together and discuss on different ideas that could boost finance and technology in Africa. The Finance Summit, a two-day event that was carried out last week here in Kigali. Financial firm leaders and tech leaders that took part in this event got to network and come up with groundbreaking ideas that could be used to boost financial technology. The discussions were based on different topics such as blockchain, digital payment solutions, building the SME funding gap in Africa, payments innovation in Africa, and many more. We got to have a little chat with some of the exhibitors at the event, and these were TagPay, a digital banking platform that brings banks the open architecture and services they need in the digital world, and also Musani, a microfinance software that provides microfinancial services and leverages information communication technologies.
First, we would like to meet people, which is natural, but here a lot of decision makers from banks are coming, so they can come to our booth and we can speak. Also, there is an opportunity for me to be a speaker, so I can speak to everybody and tell them what the future will be, which is always fun for everybody. And I can open the possibilities of potential business with anybody who is interested in the next generation banking. You know, the existing banks today, they were created 40 years ago, 50 years ago, and they've been improving years after years, and they've been including new things like the card, like the POS, like the ATM, like the e-commerce, all the things. And now we're reaching a point when it's time to start from scratch again, because the business is transforming because of new technology, and you heard about all those fintech and all those new things that are happening. So this is a reason for the bank to think, how would I do my business? How would I run my bank if I had known at the beginning that, for instance, everybody who is going to use my bank has a cell phone or a telephone in his hand. And this is transforming completely the way the banker should be providing the service.
Rwanda provides a very good prospect because we know the uptake of technology in Rwanda is very good, by the way, compared to some other African countries. Your outreach into the rural areas is not as difficult, because you can run operations using the mobile money without necessarily setting up physical branches in the rural areas. And that reduces the cost of doing business. So we think Rwanda is a good prospect for us.
Now, one of the largest fintech events is being held in Kigali here for the second time, and over 350 experts in financial sectors and information technology sectors are here to discuss on issues related to financial technology in Africa. Joining me now in our interview is Mr. Chris Skinner, the CEO of The Financer, and he's here to explain to us on exactly what's happening in this second summit here in Kigali. Thank you so much for joining us. Now, please let us know, this is the second time this is happening in Kigali. Why Kigali? Why did you choose Kigali?
primarily because it's such an easy country to do business with, in that we had a fantastic audience here last year, and we know that Rwanda is in particular one of the very safe countries of Africa. In fact, it's the safest country in Africa. It's the 9th safest country in the world, and that encourages people to come here. It's one of the friendliest places in Africa that I've been to, and equally, as well as the business environment and the political environment here, it's a very attractive place to come and actually spend some days touring and seeing the gorillas or relaxing, as long as you can get up and down all these hills.
What are the significant changes you've seen in terms of technology, financial technology, comparing to the last time you were here in Kigali?
Things are moving at a good pace, and in particular I think what's happening is that with mobile payments and mobile financial inclusion, there's a great focus across all African nations around how can we build more capabilities to bring people into the financial network and give them opportunity. And that's one of the things that I did notice here in particular last year in Kigali, in terms of the number of mobile network operator stations and micro savings, micro loans that you can get just from stores on the street. But that's now becoming something that the banks are interested in, and in particular how to get more money into small businesses.
When it comes to people that live in the rural areas, they're not that well conversant with technology and how to use it. Now, please let us know, how applicable is financial technology to these people in the rural areas?
I think that's one of the critical facts, which is that over the past decade we've seen most Africans getting a mobile phone, and with that a mobile payment service, which they couldn't have before. And so a mobile phone is a transformational technology, in particular because it can take money as well as send money. Now obviously the critical factor there is the infrastructure around the country, in that it's all well and good in Kigali, but you go out into the mountains and the network starts to become a little more difficult to access. So what's going to happen over time is the mobile network operators, because it's in their interest to get more traffic and network data on their service, will start to put more reach into the rural areas. And specifically the transformation for rural areas is that historically to send money to family in villages, you'd have to send it physically through a bus or a taxi, and it's insecure and might not get there. With a mobile network payment, you're guaranteed safety, you get the money getting there intact and in full, and that's critical.
So one thing that has been discussed numerous times here in the summit is blockchain. For somebody out there that is watching, doesn't know how blockchain works, would you explain to them how it works?
It's effectively a technology that came about 10 years ago, and it's a very simple way of recording debits and credits in a ledger system, which historically most people have had to do, particularly if they're doing it with people they don't trust, in a very manual way. But now through the internet, the blockchain allows you to record those debits and credit transactions on a ledger automatically without having to have humans checking what's going on, because the network checks that everything is working as it should. So it's a technology that is potentially transformational because it can provide complete trust in transactions digitally that historically had to be recorded physically.
Are there any challenges you faced? Would you please explain to us, throw more light on that, plus the resolutions too?
Well, one of the key things that I presented this morning, and I present around the world, is that a lot of people in Europe look to America for innovation, and yet Europe and America are living in a legacy infrastructure economy. Most of their technology was implemented 50 years ago. Asia, and in particular China, has a very growth-oriented economy that's leapfrogging Europe and America. But here in Africa, and Rwanda is a great example of this, what I see is what I call the innovation economy, where because so many people were not included in the banking system, the financial system before, and yet now just with the simple arrival of a mobile phone, they can get on the internet, they can get access to services that they never could before. That's truly transformational, and eventually I think Africa and Rwanda will be showing the world how to use these technologies rather than us showing Africa. But one of the things that comes out of that, and this is the challenge, is how do you get governments to support these programs of change? How do you get the banks to understand how to do things that take away a lot of their margin and profit, but it's going to anyway? And how do you get the mobile network operators to provide interoperability and work together rather than actually trying to compete with each other in this space of particularly financial inclusion, which is at the moment a little bit detrimental, but maybe some countries like Tanzania are showing the way for mobile network interoperability for the future for free, and that will be a fantastic model.
Thank you so much for having this interview and taking your time to answer our questions. I'm sure the viewers out there would find your answers really helpful. Yeah, so you're still watching Business Digest. We still have more show for you. Don't go anywhere. Now, did you know that over the years, social media sites such as Facebook have been utilized to leverage business platforms and also create opportunities for the youth that are eager to learn more about technology and expand the tech ecosystem? Have a look at this. Many business partnership teams in the business ecosystem are set up with an aim to work and partner with businesses that are trying to leverage a platform in order to build business products. They also identify opportunities with startups that are interested in leveraging a platform. Partnership teams such as Facebook's Strategic Platform Partnership Team looks for ways businesses can be integrated with the Facebook platform and form actual business value through the integration.
The Facebook platform involves a whole bunch of products like the Messenger platform, as well as our identity products, Facebook Analytics, and so on, and all of them can build real business value for a business that actually leverages them to try to engage the ecosystem at large. And that's just based on the premise that we believe in, that in order for us to grow, we have to invest in the ecosystem around us. We depend a lot on our partnerships with businesses that leverage our platform.
Facebook strategic platform partnerships have highly involved the youth, especially within the sub-Saharan African countries, who are eager to learn more about tech and the expansion of its ecosystem, and also invest in the communities around them.
So the Developer Circle program engages a lot with young people. So a lot of our leads are people that are straight out of undergrad or in their late teens, who are really eager to learn more about tech and to invest in communities around them. So a lot of our circles are led by such very inspiring young people who I personally derive a lot of energy from working with, and they do pretty amazing work. So for example, in Rwanda, we have one of our leads, a young man called Davi, who I met last year. He was a master's student last year at CMU on the Rwanda campus. And he has managed to grow a community of up to 450 people in Kigali who are interested in tech, and they convene regularly to learn from each other and to share about how to build using different platforms. Yeah, the biggest challenge is something that is just tied to our one is just the nascence of the ecosystem here, where the continent that I'm responsible for, Sub-Saharan Africa, is pretty large, and there's a huge diversity in different places, and so the ecosystem is different in different places, right? Like the maturity is different in different places. So I've had to think about how I can both support really small, these early stage ecosystems, or places where the ecosystem is not that big, in order to actually help it grow, and also to invest a lot of my time in places where people are hungry for Facebook attention and somebody like me to come in and engage with them on how they can build on our platform. So the biggest challenge has been about how I can, allocate some of my resources and time to make sure that I am present and able partner to all of the people that I actually come in contact with. But it's been an interesting journey. I think part of the biggest learnings is making sure that I build the right partnerships with folks like Africa Tech Summit, where coming here can be worth more than a couple of just the 2 days is worth more than a round of phone calls and stuff that I could do with people, because people come here with an intention to build partnerships with the people that they meet here and network, and that's been a wonderful way to actually build some of those partnerships.
And on the market trends, the government of Rwanda has successfully issued a 5-year fixed coupon treasury bond worth 15 billion Rwandan francs. On the 22nd of February 2018, it was announced through the National Bank of Rwanda that the government has successfully issued a 5-year bond worth 15 billion Rwandan francs with a subscription level of 263.0% from 107 applications received from different categories of investors. The book building method was used to price the bond, and the final price was announced at par with a yield of 11.80%. Individuals and retailers were allocated 12.3% of the total issued amount and institutional investors 41.0%, while banks were allocated 46.7%. The bond coupon will be paid semi-annually and listed on the Rwanda Stock Exchange on Tuesday, 27 February 2018.
So today's show ends here today. I want to thank you all for watching. Don't forget that this show ends every Tuesday at 9 o'clock. You can also follow us on social media. Our handles are here below. Thank you for watching and see you all next week.